Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. You are with me on my way to go pick up my toddler from preschool. And I just wanted to address how important finding that self-love is. So when I really started this journey, I was not in love with myself. I was not in love with my life. I felt like I was trapped in this body that did not fit my personality. It did not fit what kind of lifestyle I wanted. And that, among other things that were happening in my life, were really what drove me to start on my journey. And that started with exercise and getting those endorphins, and then that led to, nutrition and self-development, and I've talked about the importance of self-development before, but I think it is really important to really identify areas where you can learn to improve with loving yourself, because loving yourself is really essentially, at the end of the day, what's going to help you stay determined to stay on this journey, to really love and live your best life. And that really all boils down to, are you happy with who you are as a person from the inside? And sometimes that can reflect on the outside too. So when I was bigger, I wasn't really loving myself. I didn't really care too much. Sometimes I did overcompensate with things on the outside, but it really had a lot to do with rocking sweatpants and a mom bun, which there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes you just want to dress up and feel good, and because I didn't feel good on the inside, I felt trapped. I was just so unhappy because I wasn't reflecting on what I wanted for a lifestyle, and I couldn't do things that I wanted to do because I was unhappy with myself. And I let that get to the point where my relationship with food was bad, and my relationship as a mom to my children was suffering. I wasn't able to do things like chase after them and things like that. Or at the time I only had my first daughter, who's now 3. And finding that self-love has really helped me develop as a person. It's helped me develop a certain style for my life, as well as my outward appearance. So when I first started, I wore a lot of baggy clothes because I wanted to hide what my body looked like, and I wasn't really comfortable with what I looked like, and therefore I had all these insecure issues and struggled with mental health and things like, being super depressed because I felt like I was stuck, and I I wasn't sure of which route to take to make my life better and make it be my best life, and really love it and be in love with my life. And you don't have to be in love with your life all the time, but there should be where you are really in love with your life, like 95% of the time. You don't have to be positive all the time, but a positive mindset is really where that starts. And a lot of times, at least for me, I started from the outside in, and we need to really start, when we get on this journey to be successful and sustainable, to start from the inside out. Working on self-development is so important, and I can't emphasize that enough, because prioritizing yourself, making yourself a priority, and learning to love yourself and do things that you enjoy and love is really going to reflect on your outside. So when I post pictures of my transformation, a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, I really see the confidence in your face. You're glowing. You can see how happy you are in your eyes." And really that stems down and boils down to really developing myself and learning to be happy with things that I have really worked on. So, obviously my outward appearance has changed drastically, but also my inward transformation has been so drastic. I used to feel trapped. It was really dark. And when my father committed suicide, which I've talked about before, it really made me look at my mental health in a whole other perspective and really see, was I really in love with my life? Mental health was always a struggle for me, and I'm not saying that is going to go away with being on a journey, but definitely working on that self-love can help. It can help you get out of those dark spaces, or at least feel like you see the light at some points. And I've talked about the impact of mental health, and there's always options, obviously, but I do find that exercise is my type of therapy. It really helps me, the endorphins and just really feeling good about where I'm at. I think it is so important to have that catalyst and really not only see the changes on the outside, but really see and notice and be proud of the changes that you've made on the inside. So one of those things is working on self-development, and I really do stress the importance of self-development a lot, because I think that is really where you find that confidence from within, and that confidence has something separately than the confidence you have within your body and the changes you're making there. Because when you're changing your mind, you're changing the way you look at life, the way you perceive things. Having a positive life and living your best life doesn't mean you have to be positive and see all these drastic changes all the time, but it's definitely going to help you have a more positive outlook on all things in life. Even the bad situations, you're not going to take them as hard as maybe you would when you weren't so comfortable within yourself and within who you are as a person in the life that you live. And that's not to say that at times you're not going to doubt that, but that's to say that when you do have those times of doubt, you're able to rephrase it and really say, I've come so far as a person. I've made such a transformation in my mind that I'm able to look at these things and reframe the mindset around them and really find a piece of positivity in this bad situation that's happening, and making that a catalyst to keep letting that positivity snowball. And I've talked about that before. Once you're really positive in an area of your life, it tends to blend in with other areas. So like I said, I kind of started backwards, where I started the outward transformation before I started the inward transformation, and I really struggled with the mindset at that point, because I wasn't really super concerned about how I was feeling on the inside, because I was getting results on the outside. And once I stalled, I really had to question what I needed to do to have these two things match, the inside and the outside, and to live my best life and really be happy and be the best mom and wife and friend that I could be. And that had to do with doing work on myself and learning to really love myself at every step along the way. I knew that I didn't have to be perfect. I knew that I had flaws, but I also knew that I needed to learn to accept those. And there's always room for improvement, but I really needed to learn to accept those flaws and embrace them and find out how I could develop and improve and get better, but still accept and love every single step along the way. And a lot of times, and I talk about it a lot, and podcast people are really a unique type of people, but podcasts have really been a catalyst for change for me. Even within the last, let's say, 2 months, I've really found not only a passion with sharing with you guys what I've learned and really embracing certain things that I've learned, but it's also helped me with taking into perspective other people's perspectives and learning that mine isn't always the most important, and I can reshape and reframe my own mindset, and learn to embrace other things that maybe before I was closed off to, other ways of living that I might not have a certain perspective for, that I've never tried myself, but somebody else has tried and it worked for them. And it really allows me to help my clients work on their development and finding what works best for them to develop that personal development. So maybe for you, it's not podcasts, maybe it's audiobooks, maybe it's actually reading a physical book. Maybe it has nothing to do with books at all, but maybe it's doing like workshops or master classes. You never know what's going to work with you, and you kind of have to try everything in order to see what works best for you. For me, podcasts are probably the best thing because I am one of those busy moms who has multiple things on her plate at a time. Podcasts are the most convenient way for me to absorb the most information. That being said, I would love to read a book. Like, I love to read. I'm a reader, and when I have the time, I do try to read self-development books, and there is that audio book option as well. But for me, podcasts, the on the fly, the really real information, there's a lot of scientific information that is dropped in these podcasts, really does help me find things that fit in with my lifestyle. They help me develop as a person, and they help me be able to see different perspectives and to take those perspectives and make me a better person all around. They help me with self-care, which is super important too when you're working on self-development. And that self-care could actually be listening to a podcast or reading a book that has nothing to do with health and fitness or nutrition or anything like that. Maybe your self-care is studying or finding things that interest you and researching things. If you're like me, you're forever a student and you like to find things that have to do with your passion, with finding different ways to eat, with finding different ways to work out, finding different perspectives of how a certain lifestyle works for somebody. You really just have to adjust to what you need, but really focus on that need to develop yourself and really live your best life, and appreciate where you are each and every step of the way. And I think that if people started with the work of the transformation of their mind, they would really be a lot further and would really get these sustainable things in their lives, especially with their journey, that tend to be forgotten and tend to, we have to do the work on the inside as much as we have to do the work on the outside. And that was my main point. I think that we really do need to focus on ourselves and living our best life and being the best version of ourselves. That is very important to the journey at hand. And you're not going to be able to do that, and you're not going to be able to be the best person you are and have those sustainable results if you're not working on that as well. So I really hope this is helpful for you guys. I am here now. I'm just trying to find a parking space. And if this was helpful for you and you find that self-development is something that you need to work on, just go ahead and get a hold of me and reach out, and I can give you several things to work on and to help you, and suggestions of what things that have worked for me. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in today and sharing this time with me. Please stay tuned for future episodes and check out my podcast.